As you know, we put the chain plate project aside. We'll get back to it very soon. In the meantime, we get to start working on our dream cockpit. My name is Matt. Follow along as I turn Duracell, the legendary ocean racing sailboat, into a comfortable cruising home. All right, last fall we mocked up the cockpit, including the coamings and the seat backs and the benches, the cockpit benches. Since I finished the Traveler bulkhead, we're ready to begin construction of the cockpit benches and the coamings and everything. So what I'm going to be doing is basically using these mocked up parts as my templates. They're not exact, but I'm going to use the basic shape in order to cut out all the pieces and start building. I'm going to build the benches first, get them all glued in, and then I can build the coamings, and then I can connect the coaming to the bench with the seat back. Before I could begin to build the benches, I had to fill in the hatch here where the bench will go. First, I had to get the hatch out of the deck. It's a great hatch, and I'll likely replace the lens and reuse it elsewhere in the boat. And this hatch leads to the systems compartment that is below the cockpit. Then I glued in a piece of flat stock that I had cut from the boat a while back and glued it in to make the deck solid on which to build the bench. We will still be able to access the systems room through a hatch in the future quarter berths, as well as the deck access that will be elsewhere in the cockpit. Later, I fiberglassed over this patch to make it solid. I also have to prep where the benches will be glued and fiberglassed to the boat. I believe that it is important to sand through all the paint, fairing, and primer down to the fiberglass substrate to get the best adhesion. To stick with the theme of this project, I'm building the benches out of fiberglass and foam core flat stock. Benches are used pretty hard on a boat, so they need to be sturdy and hold up to abuse. The lids will be 1-inch PVC foam with 2 layers of 1708 fiberglass on top for both stiffness and impact resistance, in case we drop a winch handle, and 2 layers of 12-ounce on the bottom to help with stiffness, but where I don't need to worry about abuse as much. The walls will be 1/2-inch thick foam with a 12-ounce and a 1708 layer on the inboard sides, again to help with abuse from people kicking and bumping into them, and so that when someone jumps down onto the bench from the side deck, it doesn't crumble underneath them.
I saw what you did to that mouse. It was not nice.
I don't know if y'all noticed, but I got a new table saw. Yanni's uncle David gave it to me, and Larry delivered it to me. It's been extremely helpful. I mocked up the cockpit last fall, and I'm using those pieces from the mock-up to cut out all the pieces for the bench. The mock-up was not perfect, so I had to do a lot of fiddling and futzing to make it fit.
This is an exciting moment in the Duracell build.
Yep. So as Yanni said, this is a very exciting moment. We've got the boxes cut out and ready to glue into the boat. So my mom and I are going to glue them in, and then we're going to fiberglass tape them in by the end of the day today. And then I can start thinking about putting the lids on, and then we'll have benches in the cockpit. So it's very exciting. We used Total Boat's Thick Sew 2-to-1 non-sagging epoxy that comes in a tube to glue all the pieces in. This stuff is extremely convenient where we would normally have to mix up a bunch of epoxy and colloidal silica to make the thick glue. Okay. So we need a bead on the deck and on the bulkhead and on these.
Got it. The next step after we get these glued in is to fiberglass tape them in, where we have strips of fiberglass connecting the boat to the new part. And so that the fiberglass doesn't bend at like a really sharp bend, we put in what are called fillets, which are we're putting like a radius in the corner using this thickened epoxy, and that way the fiberglass can transition from one plane to another plane a little more gradually rather than having a hard bend in the fiberglass. Makes it stronger. Okay, now we've got the boxes glued in and coved, and so we're just going to go around and put fiberglass tapes over everything so they're becoming part of the boat.
Heel fly.
Yep.
Three peel putty.
Thank you.
So Matt, last fall you did a lot of iterative design on this cockpit, and you were spending a lot of time, thinking about exactly your dream cockpit. So tell us, what are the features that you are most excited about this cockpit?
I am excited about its
simplicity. You know, it's going to be just 2 benches, 2 wheels, 6 winches, as few lines and electronics and clutter as possible. I'm excited about how spacious it's going to be. I really like a nice open, spacious cockpit and airy. You know, don't want to feel like I'm bumping into stuff all the time. And yeah, I think it'll be really, really nice when it's done. I think it'll make the boat more fun to sail.
And you're designing it so that it can be like short-handed sailing, right? So that 1 or 2 people could sail it.
Very much, yeah. Almost all the lines will lead to the cockpit. Everything will be pretty close together. The wheels, obviously, and the winches will be very close at hand. It'll be easy to reef from the cockpit and trim the sails. You know, the only thing we'd have to go up to the foredeck for is putting like flying sails up, like spinnakers. So otherwise, yeah, all the furling and reefing and trimming will be done from back here, and there'll be lots of autopilot power.
So are there any compromises that you made in the design of the cockpit?
Yes, I'm sure there are. I think the biggest one is that, like, the design of the doghouse in front of the cockpit, inherently not good visibility. We will have to stand up on the benches or the side decks in order to see, like, all the way to the bow, which was the same thing on our last boat, and we didn't mind. You will be able to see through the doghouse, but not as well as, like, standing and looking over it. Otherwise, I think it will be very clean and fun, and I'm excited about it. So I've got the 2 lids cut. We're going to go up and fit them on the boat.
Would you look at that?
Look at that.
I think that looks so good. I love it.
Me too. Obviously they don't have, this is just, there's backs to go on in the coamings and everything, but it's pretty sweet already. I like them. They're, they have a lot of nice storage space. I like the angles. It's pretty far reach for legs, but we might be able to put like a chalk down the middle to put our feet against. Alright, so the next thing we got to do is cut doors into these benches. These benches are also lockers, so there's going to be 2 lockers per bench, so 2 doors in the bench top. And so I have to figure out the process of cutting the doors, and then that means we also have to build gutters into the lockers themselves so that when it rains or when we're washing the boat, water doesn't just go straight into the locker, it falls out the side of the locker. And so there's a boat that I take care of here in Port Townsend called Levine Rose, and I really like how they did their cockpit locker gutters, and so I'll kind of be copying the construction of how they did it on that boat. So between that and the coamings, those are the next things to do on board.
Should we see if we passed?
Yeah, I'm not very confident. Oh,
You're not optimistic?
I'm not optimistic.
It's not clear if we passed or not.